So now we go to the third heat check or
Whoa, that's
third
the
Hail
important
Mary.
one. Whoa.
This is where we start to really break down the tough stuff, folks. We're doing TV binge watching. Now, Brad and I, we both have Apple TV. I've talked about Dark Matter. That show got done. The premise of the show is somebody has figured out, and we know it's the multiverse, so it gets a little crazy, but they figured out how to move from one alternate reality to another. So in this alternate reality, a gentleman who's a billionaire and he goes to another reality where instead of him making the choices that allowed him to be a billionaire, he now goes to a reality where he can not go away from his girlfriend who was pregnant. Instead, they stick together in this reality and they end up having a great married life. And he wants to go become the married guy. And he takes the alternate version of him who's a family man and dumps him in the billionaire reality. Brad, your thoughts on that show? Because I thought on Apple TV, I thought this was well worth the subscription price.
Yeah, fantastic show. I think the interesting thing about this show is that it's one of those. It so centers on the choices that we make in life and how that what the long term effect is, because we may not see that right there. I chose to go here. I chose to do this. I chose to whatever it is. Take this job. And we talked about this. I'm sure you've had the same discussions. I was, you know, there I had different professions in mind where I was looking at doing this. Obviously, I would have made more money in some of these professions than I made when I went into teaching. And so but then the opportunity to spend so much time with my kids, to coach my kids and all those things have been fantastic for me. And so, there's the give and take, but you sometimes wonder like, well, what if I'd have been a doctor? What if I'd have gone to med school? What if I'd have done this? So always those kind of things.
And let me ask you this question. Here's the only part that I found unbelievable about this Dark Matter is that there were so many of these guys. Instead of being a scientist billionaire, think of Lex Luthor from Superman. He makes billions and he's also got the brain to invent billions of dollars worth of stuff. So instead of doing that, he chose to be a college professor at a smaller college, not Northwestern, not University of Chicago.
Hmm.
And when you drag him from this reality into a world where he's a billionaire and he's got all this tech, I still debate. I know it's the same person, the same capabilities, but without that 16 years of knowledge, I just think you would quickly try to figure out how to get out of there. And you couldn't figure out the technology, how to control it. And then you just say, you know what? I'm just going to live the life of a billionaire.
you know, there is something to be said for that. But the other side of that, I think you're right to a certain extent. I think you'd be like, well, gosh, this sucks trying to I can't get back. Oh, okay, I'll just live here. I'm a billionaire. Yeah, it could be worse,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm
But
saying, you know. Yeah,
but don't you think that person that has gone there after 16 years of their life, you're not the same.
I agree.
You're a totally different person. So because you haven't noted, I mean, it's like, people who've never had any money, when they lose money, it's, they don't, it doesn't, guys who've had money, people who've been loaded their whole life, when they lose money, they're like, it's a different life, right?
Right.
They can't, I guess if that makes sense, like if you've never had it, you don't know what it's like to really have it. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
no, I get it. And just the relationships are so different from
Oh
people
yeah.
that, you know, he had known and didn't know, et cetera. But I would encourage people, Dark Matter has been done. It's 9 episodes. Jennifer Connelly is in it, Joel Edgerton. Jennifer Connelly was amazing in there as well. And I thought that was a heck of a show. Now let me ask you this, Brad, there's supposedly going to be another season. Would you go with that family again? I might go with one of the other characters and make it like True Detective, where you do a different lead every season. What
Yeah,
would
as
you do?
long as it's not in Alaska, then I think it would be
Yeah,
good. The True Detectives were great until the last one. I just
yeah,
didn't connect with the last season. But I agree. I think that would be a really cool kind of way to, I don't know, transition. I
yeah.
think to a different.
Yeah, I like the guy from Westworld. I thought he was fantastic, and I'd probably go with his adventures. But I think you could also pick Leighton, the rich guy who went
Yeah,
went
yeah,
out and
for
is just
sure.
partying in different realities
Yeah. I
for
mean, that's
however long.
that's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. He's the rich guy who's figured out how to
Yep.
go about it. Now the next one on Apple TV again. There's a lot of series we could bring up. We're just talking about two of them. Presumed Innocent with Jake Gyllenhaal. I didn't think that Jake Gyllenhaal could act, but I thought he's done a pretty good job in this thing as Rusty, the prosecutor who's being accused of killing his illicit lover. Um, and now he's going to court. Folks who might remember this, of course, that was Presumed Innocent, which was a book by Scott Turow and a movie with Harrison Ford and the beautiful Greta Scacchi, who I do think that
And
um,
Bonnie Bedelia
Bonnie
too, right?
Bedelia, yes, as his wife. I do think that Greta Scacchi was one that you could see like, okay, if you're going to ruin a relationship, a marriage, you might as well go for something of that quality.
Yeah, go big or go home, right?
Exactly. So what have your thoughts been so far in this?
Yeah, I think you mean you didn't like Jake Gyllenhaal in Roadhouse? You didn't think he was
Um,
a great actor there?
I actually thought the highlight of that you were rarely worried he was ever going to lose. Um, but I do think having Conor McGregor run around made that movie much more entertaining than I think it was probably
Yeah, it was.
written to be.
Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, I was almost like, I almost thought I was watching Step Brothers at one point because I thought it was dumb comedy, but it really wasn't meant to be that funny. No,
Yeah,
but no,
yeah.
I think Jake Gyllenhaal's been great in Presumed Innocent. He's very good. I think he really has taken on, it's a different role for him than maybe I've seen him consistently play. And so I think he's done a really good job with that. I think that it's been a good show. I think the one thing they're able to do when they do a series like this is they're able to dive deeper into relationships than you can in an hour and a half or 2 hour movie
Yes.
like it was with Harrison Ford, back in the day. So we get deeper into the relationships with the children. We get deeper into relationships between him and his wife. We get deeper into relationships with his coworkers, all those different things. And I think that's really adds a lot of intrigue to the story.
And I do have a one step of separation from Scott Turow. At one point in one of my companies, people had to go be interviewed by legal department just to make sure everybody was in compliance. And I sat in a conference room that Scott Turow's office was outside the door of. So I didn't meet Scott Turow. He wasn't there. His office was dark, the door was shut. But I walked past his office and read the nameplate and I asked, "Is that the Scott Turow?" And the lawyer looked at me like, oh, I've been asked this. Yes, it's him. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And so there's me and Scott Turow came so close to becoming incredible friends.
You and 6 degrees of separation. So
Yeah,
there
that
you
would be
go.
about 5.5, I think.
That's good. That's
As
good.
close to six as you get. Now, you made a comment which I got people not happy with me. I said that the Acolyte was actually good. And I got to be honest with you, folks. I've been very disappointed with Star Wars as a general rule since they made the decision to take the Wookiees out and put in Ewoks in Return of the Jedi. Because that was traumatic. Look, I was 16. That was 1983. I'm 16. You're going into a Star Wars movie, which is a little bit too young for you, by what's cool. And then you have teddy bears beating up stormtroopers, and you're like, what happened to my self-esteem here? So I've been frustrated off and on with Star Wars. I thought Andor was good. I thought Rogue One was good. I liked Ahsoka because Rosario Dawson's on my laminated 5-person list. But for the most part, I don't think a lot of their series have been particularly good from beginning to end. This one so far, now they could collapse. I'm not taking that away from Star Wars people, but I've actually been impressed. And the lightsaber battle was unbelievable when the Sith destroyed like 6 or 7 Jedi.
Yeah, I'm not anti Star Wars like you are. I mean, I've been
Well,
pretty
I
happy
like it.
with
I
it.
watch all of it.
I would say, there was I've had some beefs with. I really thought like The Force Awakens was really good up until the point where suddenly this untrained person is fighting against Kylo Ren just because he got hit with in the blaster in the stomach. Somehow she's able to handle this because
Right.
she's up, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, I actually liked the most of that show. And overall, overall, I'd give it an okay. The second, the Last Jedi was abysmal. I enjoyed it though, just because
Same
I
here. Same.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was
Yeah.
bad, but I still watch it.
Yeah. No,
I
I
probably
go to
watched it a
all
couple
of
times.
them. Yeah. I go to all of them. I'm
I
just
thought the
let
Rise of
down.
Skywalker was better than the Last Jedi. I thought it was better. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was as
Yeah.
good as, the original trilogy or things like that. I didn't hate the prequels as bad as some people did. I thought they had some good
I
points.
thought they all had their good parts.
Exactly. They're all good and bad.
Why
The
would you kill Darth
Mandalorian,
Maul?
yeah, I know. Early like that. What
Yeah.
are we doing here? The Mandalorian was great. I thought the first season of Mandalorian was fantastic. I
Yes.
really
Agree
enjoyed
that.
that.
Agree that.
So, there's been some
Boba
really
Fett
good
though.
pieces.
Boba Fett show that should be illegal. The Book of Boba Fett. Oh my gosh.
What? Okay, I watched that and I kept thinking it was going to get better, and it just never got better, did it?
Yeah. No.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know why. It just never got there. But I've liked a lot. Andor I thought was really good.
Yeah.
Rogue One's one of my favorite movies
Totally.
of the entire group. But I will agree with you. I think the Acolyte's fine. Now, do I want to see how it plays out? But I think it's been pretty intriguing the way they did it. I really like the twin dynamic, and I like the fact that maybe they both think that they've both been sold a bill of goods, and then they're going
Exactly.
to realize that the other side's bad, and they're going to both feel betrayed by the other side, if that makes sense. You know
I
what I mean?
totally get
I
it.
really think and I think it's a really cool story arc that it's had so far. Now the one thing is, all those Jedi that you start to get to know, they just get killed. I mean, it's an awesome fight scene, but
Yeah.
dude, they're just dead. His neck snap. Oh, we're starting to get to know this guy. Oh, we're going to get to know this character. Snap, neck dead.
But you know
Neck
why
gone.
you know why that doesn't bother me? Because I'm also a Star Trek fan and I'm used to that. Like you're like, uh-oh, this guy's too cool. He's gonna
Yeah, but he didn't have like a red shirt on.
I know he didn't have a red. They should have
If he'd
done
had
that.
a red shirt on, like in Star Trek, red shirt guy, he's out.
Yep. Yeah,
That
he's
guy's
gone.
out.
Yep.
That guy's dying, right? He's going on the ledger. Oh, there's Captain Kirk, Spock, McCoy, red shirt guy, you're out. So
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, seriously, think about it. By about the third year of the mission, you'd walk into that transporter room with the red shirt on and you'd be like, oh my God, I'm
Dude,
gonna
give me
die.
a blue or I need a blue shirt.
You walk in there, there's Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. You're like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. And it would be so funny in one of those episodes if a guy just would have went and ran out the doors.
Wait, I'm not wearing this.
Or a guy shows, or he just switches shirts right there, and Kirk's like, "What are you doing? You're out of uniform." Oh,
the red shirt makes me look fat. The red shirt makes me look fat. I need to change.
Well, and Kirk would have been like, "Hey, wait a minute. As long as you stay away from the green space women, I'm okay with what you wear." Yeah.
But Spock.
Now I'm going to talk about one, and we all have these where you go back and you watch something again, and it was hotter than bejesus down in Texas the last couple of weeks. And so when I'm working on Illini guys stuff, I have it on in the background. I am telling you that at its peak, I'm not saying that the whole series is this good, but at its peak, Battlestar Galactica with Edward James Olmos, who is he just eats the scenery. He's such a good actor. As him as Commander Adama, when they run in to the Battlestar Pegasus, which they took this right from the original series back in the 70s that we grew up on. But they find this Admiral Kane, Michelle Forbes, and they find out piece by piece that this lady's nuttier and she's crazy, but she's very effective. And they find this other Battlestar, and all of a sudden you have an admiral who, unlike Adama, will force civilians to serve in the military, basically by going on to civilian ships and saying that if we need you because you have whatever abilities would help the fleet or the military, so we're going to take you, and if you say no, we're going to shoot your whole family. So people are like, okay, I guess I'll go with you. And then they strip the civilian ship of everything, every part that could be usable, and they strand the people on whatever planet they're next to. And then she goes forward just trying to build this military to go fight against the Cylons. She kills people who don't do what she says right there, executes them right on the bridge, and then even allows things like prisoners to be gang raped. Um, I tell you, watch this. I'm telling you right now, I don't care who you are. You take that 4 or 5 episode arc that Michelle Forbes, who is a great underappreciated actress, if you take that 4 or 5 episodes that she's on, that is as good. I'll be honest with you. I'll put that up there with The Wire. I'll put it up there with The Shield. Again, I'm not saying the whole series, but this arc is incredible. Now, I just to get your overall feelings. Did you watch Battlestar back in the day, and did you enjoy it?
So I'll go back. I watched the original Battlestar,
Oh
Lorne
gosh,
Green,
yes. Oh
Lorne
yes.
Green. Dirk Benedict was like
Yep.
the coolest guy, right? I mean, he was the
Oh
cool guy
yes.
back
We
then.
we all wanted to be Starbuck, right?
No, I mean, we all did, right? I mean, that was what you wanted to be, so would have been cool. But no, I watched it. I haven't rewatched it though. So I'm
Yeah.
well in the past, Mike. So I haven't
Right.
seen this in a long time. But I'm going to go back and check. I will say that what I found is some of these shows, when you go back and watch them, some of these shows are god awful, and you're like, holy
Yes.
crap! So one that I showed my daughter the other day was she's 18. I showed her The Greatest American Hero.
Right. Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you realize how bad that is?
Yes,
I
I
mean,
do
that is
because I
just
watched that one recently. Yes.
it's so bad, but yet I enjoyed it back in the day. I mean, I used to watch it. Now I showed her My Cousin Vinny, and it's now one of her favorite movies because My Cousin Vinny was just fantastic. And by the way, Marissa Tomei. If Marissa Tomei watches this podcast, or then
Which
I'm
the odds are not long, of course, with our reach.
So, by the way, that's true. And by the way, I ate it at the other place, Mike. So I got to tell you, Marissa Tomei is on the wall at Oinks in
Really?
yeah, Marissa Tomei and Joe Biden. Joe Biden had a chocolate chip ice cream cone like 10 years ago, no, 13 years ago, back when he kind of knew what an ice cream cone was. And so he had a chocolate chip ice cream cone. Oinks, he's on the wall. Marissa Tomei's on the wall. Now I'm much more excited about Marissa Tomei being on the wall. Not gonna lie. So I'm a big Marissa Tomei fan. So I showed my daughter My Cousin Vinny, and so she likes that. So some of these shows, you go back and watch, but it sounds like Battlestar Galactica. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch, Mike.
Well, I will tell you again, for some people who don't want to watch 4 seasons of a show, you go into season 2, episode 10, and start with Pegasus. And I am telling you, it goes on for a couple 3 episodes that are it's just amazing. It's a tour de force with Michelle Forbes, who you could go too far and turn this into like a comic crazy gal, but she is just menacing and she knows how to deliver a line. It's not over the top. And I thought it was fantastic. You stumble upon these shows that you watch. Again, I rewatched The Shield, and I have to admit, I didn't appreciate that during its time as much as I should have.
No, there's no question. There's a lot of shows like that.
Yeah. So Brad and I like to go over pop culture. Of course, we both are geared up for the end of the month with Wolverine and Deadpool. I mean, Deadpool and
No,
Wolverine.
Michelle Forbes. She's been good in these sci-fi roles, though,
Oh
right?
gosh, yeah, she was
Star
on,
Trek.
yeah, Next Generation. Yeah, she was
Yep.
a Bajoran on there, and
Yeah. Good stuff.
yeah, she's a fantastic actress. Again, one of those people you don't really hear about because they never really got the starring role. And I will tell you, Edward James Olmos, I went on a big kick of his movies during Battlestar's initial run, and I do find him to be great. Of course, I think he was on Miami Vice too. He's got this way of looking at his people with his glasses on that you're thinking to yourself like, I'm a dead man. I've just crossed him, and this is the worst thing that I could possibly do. So he delivers a well-rounded character, and so if you get an opportunity, watch Battlestar Galactica, and if you want to start on season 2, episode 10, you watch 2 or 3 episodes, and then let that be your judgment if that's something that you would enjoy watching more of. So with
All
that,
right.
folks, that's the end of the heat checks and Hail Marys. We went 3 deep this time. Brad, thanks for coming on. folks, we
Anytime.
will.
I
Yeah,
enjoyed this. This is fun. We get to talk a little line eye, but then we do some outside stuff too.
yeah, that's what we kind of do, and we'll have a line eye. We'll have Big Ten. I didn't even get into my speech on the boxing last night. I saw literally one of the worst decisions I've ever seen.
What was it?
Oh, Shaquille Foster, literally, I don't know, it was 10 rounds to two, going up against a guy from Panama or somewhere, South America. And the thing that was crazy about it is the hit percentage of his opponent was 11%. The opponent landed 11% of his punches and had only 2 rounds that he landed more than 10 punches in a round. And Foster lost the decision. It was the worst. It may be the worst decision I've ever seen. It certainly would be in the running. And then
Wow.
you got Shakur Stevenson, who looks like he should be able to punch. He won another thing by decision. He's the best defensive fighter going today, but he refuses to go in for the kill. When he gets a guy hurt, he just won't take any chances. And so his fights end up being sleep inducing. So I had to really struggle to stay up to watch it. So, and
Those are the best kind of boxers. You want the ones who put you to sleep.
oh, I tell you, he's never in any danger, but it's like, man, he looks like he should be able to hit harder than that. And when he gets an opportunity, apparently, whenever he sees an opportunity to go in, he assumes that the guy's trying to lure him in, and he won't go in. So
Yeah.
sometimes his fights can be a little bit, even though he wins, his fights can be a little bit disappointing because he looks the part of a puncher. He gets the nice big impact sounds from the microphone that's right next to the ring, and he just doesn't seem to be able to follow up. He's not a one punch knockout guy, but he doesn't seem to string together 6 or 7, take that risk, come off your toes and go in there because he doesn't want to get hit. And he doesn't. But and then Abdullah Mason, 135 pounder, holy cow. He was exciting, super speed, hard puncher, and wants to put people out. So there's the 3 quick boxing things from the
There
night.
you go. All right, I'm in.
Perfect. All
Good
right,
stuff.
folks. Well, we will see you next time on Heat Checks and Hail Marys. And of course, you can watch and listen to Eye on the Illini. And do not forget the Illini Guys Sports Spectacular. If you like what you're hearing here, go to IlliniGuys.com. You can subscribe, learn all about the Illini, all the inside stuff from people like Brad and Ked. It's a lot of fun. Until next time, keep moving forward.